Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to little afternoon segment. God bless you for watching this video. Welcome to Sins Are, right, the cause of so many problems in the world. You know, before we get into that, I want people to understand what sin is. Sin is the opposite of God, simply because sin is the disobedience of doing the right thing. So you see, we know the first sin. We know how it happened. It was the disobedience of, you know, Eve and Adam, simply because they had everything. And God simply gave them, you know, the trust to see if they would be obedient to God's commands. And because they decided to reject God, they decided not to listen to what God had to say, then in fact, sin had the opportunity to come in. So what happens is, you see, the serpent came in, but the serpent came in with a message, right? But the sin is caused by the action of the Adam and Eve. So if Eve did not listen to what the serpent, which is Satan, was saying, right, then that sin would not have taken place. But because Eve decided to listen to Adam, no, to listen to God, to disobey God and listen to the serpent and become curious and take the action behind it, then in fact, what happened was they were affected by this. And then, because they're the first creation, then their entire generations would be contaminated and affected. So, this is what indeed took place. So, because of that, now we are all affected, regardless of our nature and regardless of who we are simply affected. So, that is why God said we had to be born again. So, sin created a lot of problems in the world. Why? Because if we disobey the laws of what is right, the laws of God, because God cannot sin. You see what I mean? So, He has given us an opportunity to come out of sin. However, we continue, due to our environment, due to our nature, to be affected and influenced by sin. Simply because, we run on emotions, we might not make the best decisions. We might think, oh, this is the best opportunity to create great things from happening. However, we're not aware of the sins that is created through the process of change. So we seek to want a better opportunity. However, the better opportunity presents itself on the surface, but the effect of that opportunity could be, greater sins, meaning that if you are seeking for a opportunity, right, what is the changes, what is the effects of that pertaining to that same decision that you are making? Because if changes come and changes take place, then what happens is it could be good for you, but what about others? And so that is why we are affected today, and that is why we must be born again. But even when we are born again, sin still attaches to us. So now we have to have knowledge and wisdom and make the right decisions so that we don't continue to go in the path of sin, because sin equals death. So every time you sin, right, basically, and you get forgiven, it goes somewhere. That means it doesn't totally disappear, but it goes somewhere, meaning it can actually recognize that if you go and do that same sin again. So it's a form of a spirit that dwells and roams. When you're clear of sin, it will flee from you. However, it will roam, right? Pertaining to go somewhere else. If it cannot find somewhere else, it will come back, but this time it will come back with more. So it is your job to what? Put up protection around you with the scriptures. Because indeed, it is an effect that it's like a form of disease that affects your spiritual. And if you continue to ignore it, right, it will grow and grow and grow because it is a form of a seed, right? And if you have life within you, it will take that life out of you eventually, and you won't be able to what? Right? You won't be able to grow in the light because it consumes light. That is one of the side effects of sin, great sin. It consumes light within you so that you start thinking that things of the flesh is the way it is. Many people have many challenges of the great sin simply because they, right, go with their first emotions, their thoughts, how I feel in the moment. And then what happens is they become greatly affected by the decisions that they make later on because of the great changes that takes place. So arm yourself with scriptures. Read, fast, pray, take time. You know what I mean? Fasting and praying does not actually have a season. You just do it often, right? If you're not good at fasting, it doesn't matter. Try do a couple of hours, whatever time you have. Put in the effort. If you're not good at praying, well, you'll get better at praying. These are all weapons to protect yourself because you cannot live and think that sin does not have plans for you if you don't protect yourself. It does. It actually can think and knows your desires, and it will entice your desire. You see what I mean? That means if the devil comes in to try to deceive you to sin, it is a way that they're going to come in based on your weakness. So it's going to attack your weak points in order to try to affect you in those stages. Now, how do you protect yourself from these weak points? See what I mean? So what I just mentioned to you, right, about fasting and praying helps you because what it does is it gives you a positive outlook on things. You see, if you are going through a situation and you don't think it through, right, you're going to make the best available, right, the next available decision. And it may seem like it's the right decision at that moment, but when later on you think about it deeply, you start to realize it is not. So sin creates a lot of problems in the world. And think about how much sin that takes place on a daily basis, right? And how much effect it has on the environment, effect it has on us human beings. Everyone is affected by this. The laws are affected by sin. Um, you know, all the elements are affected by sin. And it's a form of negative influence that consumes light. So think about what I just said. Stay motivated, stay focused. Have a great day. Bye now.